wondering why I'm doing a makeup story if I don't actually wear all that much makeup. The thing is, not wearing much makeup is as much of a choice as it is to wear a lot of makeup, and there's a reason behind it all the same. When I grew up in the 90s, I read a ton of teen magazines. Most of them, as you probably know, have a lot of tips for romancing boys, and hopefully this has changed to boys and girls by now. At 13 and 14, I ate that stuff up. At the time, as it may very well still be, boys said that they preferred girls who wore little makeup. I took that pretty literally. It just so happened that I had a thing for boys who are fairly sporty and generally laid back, and so I just never got into the habit of wearing makeup. My mom had me when she was nearly 40, and by the time I became interested in makeup, she had stopped wearing it apart from special occasions. Maybe I should add that I grew up in New York City. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but I walked a lot growing up, between school and subway stations and between different neighborhoods and boroughs when hanging out with friends. For hours at a time, we'd just walk. Sweating and the natural elements just made makeup a hassle, and they still do. Sure, I can learn how to do makeup now, but by now it's habit not to. Adding foundation, contouring, eyes to my everyday routine just seems like time taken away. Or maybe I should just admit that I'm lazy. I hate touching up and never remember to do it. But these habits formed at some point, and they formed in part because I repeatedly read that boys like girls who don't wear that much makeup. At the time, I also tried to take up some hobbies that I thought would help me have more in common with boys I liked, like basketball and football. Sometimes I wonder if my identity would have been really different if just a few of my preferences had been different in my formative years. I remember reading a 17 magazine interview Anne Hathaway did back in the early 2000s about struggling with her identity, and I felt that she had nailed it on the head. She said, "I'd let myself be defined by the way I wanted boys to see me." I guess what I'm trying to say is that whatever you do, I hope you do them for you, and not because you feel pressure to do it or that you aren't good enough if you don't do them. If you wear makeup, I hope it's because you love to, and not because you don't feel confident if you don't. And if you don't wear makeup, I hope it's because you don't feel like it and not because you're trying to portray someone or something you think you need to be. Whatever the case, don't become a prisoner to someone else's standards. Annie Dillard once said, "How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives." Life is so short. I hope you're spending your days the way you want to spend them.